At ease, Sarge. At ease.
There's this gripping 1975 espionage thriller called 3 Days of the Condor. Our main character Joe is an unassuming CIA desk jockey who becomes a liability after surviving a massacre at his workplace. As he desperately fumbles around trying to stay alive and learning to trust no one, he uncovers his unwitting role in a shadowy government conspiracy and takes action to undermine it. It's an excellent spy story, especially with its stark invocation of Watergate-era paranoia and unadulterated 70s grit. However, I noticed something as I watched it for the first time, maybe about half an hour in. While Joe is hiding in a clothes rack of a ski shop, there's a familiar seasonal tune playing in the background. And looking around, sure enough, this small boutique is distinctly dressed up for Christmas. Well, there you have it. 3 Days of the Condor is a bona fide Christmas movie. Now, I'm thrilled by this. I'm always delighted to find these kinds of movies. I have this fascination, even a preference, for Christmas-flavored films that seem to make an effort to display their holiday setting while not actually giving it a lot of focus. These films will take care to deck their characters' halls and hang stockings by the set's fireplace with care, but not actually center the story around the season. I mean, some don't even address it in dialogue. So, are these really Christmas movies? I'm aware that this has been the subject of monumental debate for a while now, a proverbial dead horse. Like, what does qualify as a Christmas movie? Does the holiday have to play a central role? Do the story's themes have to play into traditional holiday ones? Is the mere setting a low enough bar? You know, those kinds of questions. You see, in practice, I'm pretty charitable about this category. Just to put it out there, I'll be damned if On Her Majesty's Secret Service is not the designated Christmas Bond movie.
Merry Christmas, 007.
But, like I mentioned, this taxonomical debate has been done to death. I don't want to get into that. What really raises my interest in this subject isn't the pedantic topic of qualification, it's the fact that these quote-unquote alternative Christmas movies bother to be Christmas movies to begin with. Why? What's the reason? On a critical level, I do actually believe that a quintessential holiday film requires all of the hallmark ingredients. Not just Christmas as the setting, but as the narrative anchor and thematic through line too. Or more succinctly, the movie is made for the sake of Christmas itself. But if that's really what's needed to make a true Christmas movie, why would a writer choose this holiday setting if the film isn't intended to function as one? Why would a director take care to throw in some seasonal iconography if it's only going to act as literal set dressing? This is what I want to explore. So, let's take a look at the way that Christmas as a mere setting is employed to make some of these films work. Some of us tend to simply acknowledge that it's the Christmas season and go on with our day-to-day, not really engaging with it under our own volition, only participating when social life beckons it. Nevertheless, the season is still there, looming over December and even November, not really casting a shadow, but instead shining its holiday cheer through the unavoidable glow of fairy lights. It's kind of hard not to be affected by this vibe. And for a lot of these alternative Christmas movies, this exact vibe is employed.
Fucking kidding.
We're gonna stand right here and wait for the police.
Ma'am, drop the gun. No. We didn't do anything. We are not dangerous. Drop the gun.
Hey, lady, gun is not loaded.
The undisputed master of this technique is the one and only Shane Black, often imitated but never really replicated, creator of the buddy cop action comedy genre. And it's no secret that he loves to employ Yuletide ambiance. His very first major screenplay, Lethal Weapon, leverages this setting to create a sense of down-to-earthness and also heightened moments of characterization.
You know, you're not the first guy to think of this, you know? A lot of people have got problems, especially during the silly season like now.
Somewhat more recently, Iron Man 3 similarly uses the season's superficial hollowness as a backdrop to isolate Tony Stark's detachment from life. As Black says during a press junket for the same movie, Christmas is fun, it's unifying, and all your characters are involved in this event that stays within the larger story. It roots it, I think. It grounds everything. At Christmas, lonely people are lonelier, seeing friends and families go by. People take reckoning, they take stock of where their lives are at Christmas. It just provides a backdrop against which different things can play out, but with one unifying, global heading. I've always liked it, especially in thrillers for some reason. It's a touch of magic. To Black, the holiday carries a contemplative weight, a touch of flavor. In essence, it evokes a certain tone that we as an audience can in turn pick up on through the season's connotations. This specific character of Christmas is one that we all tacitly understand, and Black leverages it to create a special kind of narrative texture. Going back to Lethal Weapon, for example, Riggs' suicidal tendencies only feel harsher when Looney Tunes holiday specials are playing in the background. But the season's vibes aren't the only thing that can be utilized for effect on the audience. Christmas has an undeniably pure and holy aura. Even in the most secularized versions of it, Christmas's purity and wholesomeness is sacrosanct. And perhaps no other Christmas set movie really plays on this convention as hard as Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut. And by play on, I mean contrast. In the real inciting incident of the story, Bill's wife Alice admits to a fantasy of infidelity, which sets him into an episode of despair that takes him throughout the cold night streets of the city of New York. Through his night walk, every encounter he has with characters are subtextualized with some kind of sexual ambiguity, culminating in his arrival at an esoteric cult ritual. The next day, he attempts to retrace his steps, only finding just the absence of anything fulfilling. He returns to Alice and seemingly moves on with his life. It's a pretty fun story. The original book Eyes Wide Shut was based off of takes place in a completely different time and place, but Stanley Kubrick made a deliberate choice to recontextualize it with a New York during Christmas setting. Each set incorporates bedazzled Christmas trees, the vibrant colors not only functionally illuminating the scent, but also establishing a motif that courses through the narrative veins of the film. There's a certain undeniable coziness to this direction as well, warmly brightening each scene with that dreamy wholesomeness. This, of course, is defiled by the actual contents of the events unfolding on screen. In fact, the sole location in the film that doesn't contain any of these evocative symbols is in that sex cult sequence. What makes the use of Christmas so compelling in Eyes Wide Shut is the very subversion of the holiday's connotation. While it might serve many functions, the most poignant is the juxtaposition of goodness with immorality, paranoia, despair, and temptation. A warm, bright light casting a well-defined shadow, the light of Christmas being ignorance of things that we'd rather not know. Indeed, that wholesome holiday ideal is deep-seated within our collective psyche, and in another unique employment of the Christmas setting, Kubrick is able to exploit that to create a deeply uncomfortable and frankly haunting experience. Also, Christmas lights and all their affiliated glory in some ways may have been hijacked by something more cynical, and there are certainly clues in Eyes Wide Shut that point towards this attitude as well.
Do you suppose we should talk about money?
If there's a secondary read on the use of the holiday in the film, it would be a critique on classism through the guise of Christmas spending. I mean, the last scene takes place while shopping in a department store. This is sort of another common sentiment in alternative Christmas movies, but let's take a look at a more inspired use. For every warm moment that Christmas time offers, there's an equally palpable feeling of cynicism that just oozes out of our TVs. True, in some capacity, we can still experience Christmas on a personal level, but as we trudge our way through the season being inundated by consumerist programming, it's no wonder that we can feel a sense of displacement and insincerity. Few filmmakers have chosen to portray Christmas in such a way that Terry Gilliam did in his 1985 picture, Brazil. An early scene beats the viewer over the head with Christmas iconography, almost unassumingly at first. As the camera pans across the family's living room, an uncanny quality is taken on, but one that is distinctly seasonal. In a sudden, violent, and even comical fashion, the patriarch of this family is arrested due to a clerical error, a rug pull of this cozy scene that sets the tone for the rest of the film. Sam, our main character, takes it upon himself to reconcile this case of mistaken identity, only to become both enamored with their neighbor Jill and implicated as an enemy of the state. It's quite a trip.
I suppose one has to expect a certain amount. Why? I came into this game for the action, the excitement. Go anywhere, travel light, get in, get out, wherever there's trouble, a man alone. Now they got the whole country sectioned off. You can't make a move without a farm.
Now, there doesn't seem to be much by way of admission as to why Christmas was chosen for Brazil, but it's almost as if it was just obvious for the story. In the chronicling of the picture's production, entitled The Battle of Brazil, Jack Matthews reveals Gilliam's interest in the film's subject matter, what he refers to as the loss of passion in bureaucratic societies, where people would sooner give up their agency for the comfort and security of acceptance within the system. We can also take Gilliam's word on his attitudes about the season.
Things like Christmas, I loved Christmas. I also felt Christmas had then been betrayed by the the greediness of America. It had become institutionalized. It had become a ministry of goodwill. And it was like hard to experience it on an individual level, personal level. It became part of this larger society. And I suppose at Christmas, a time you're very vulnerable because you're getting and giving. And people are getting and giving here a lot in this society, but what they're being given and what they're getting is not particularly nice.
This points to Gillam's choice of the holiday as intuitive almost, the obvious choice of merging this Kafkaesque hellscape with an equally farcical cultural touchpoint. See, Christmas in the context of Brazil reflects on the modern day's bastardization of the holiday. For one, this has the effect of serving as commentary on her real-world experiences of Christmas, but it also leverages some of the negative attitudes that we carry. We all recognize that there's something off about the unspoken rules of Christmas rigmarole and probably secretly want to abandon it. While our annual experiences might not be quite as overtly dystopian,
If you hold out too long, you could jeopardize your credit rating.
we, much like the characters in the film, might find temptation to liberate ourselves from it. In short, Brazil uses the holiday as a mirror, acting as a reflection of our personal experiences and giving us something to identify with. But for every cynical take, there are more traditional and hopeful ones that elevate a movie's themes. Let's end on a nice note. When all is said and done, we still value Christmas for those same chintzy ideals that holiday pictures of old love to lean into. It's the guiding force from Dickens all the way to recent classics like Klaus. The thing is, themes of this ilk don't actually need a seasonal context to work. Like, virtually every Pixar movie, for example, could contend with holiday powerhouses like It's a Wonderful Life. Something else that doesn't need a Christmas setting: superheroes. Besides our brief mention of Iron Man 3 making this creative decision, there are very, very few other cape flicks that take place at Christmas. However, in 2019, Shazam tried this out, and as a result, it toes the holiday purist line pretty closely. Billy Batson is a good but aloof and guarded kid, never feeling at home with his previous foster families. The new foster home he's placed with is as warm and welcoming as anyone could hope for, but why would it be any different to him? However, after being imbued with superpowers, Billy embarks on a personal journey that leads him to value his new foster family as his own. As is the case with all of these examples so far, the holiday of Christmas doesn't at all have a bearing on the narrative itself. Despite drawing attention to seasonal icons in some shots, Christmas ostensibly only exists in the background, strictly as a setting. But the overall themes of the film undeniably echo the wholesome values that classic holiday pictures love to exude. The theme about finding family is reinforced throughout every single scene, represented by every single character. Even our villain is motivated by a lingering animosity towards his estranged real family.
I've come here during the season of giving to give you what you deserve.
Conversely, every member in Billy's foster home is overwhelmingly eager to accept him. All the while, Christmas decorations litter the background along with recurring gags of a manic Santa Claus. It's through this pairing that Shazam manages to exemplify another trick of the Christmas setting: thematic synergy. Indeed, this movie doesn't really need to be set during the holiday, but if you had to pick any setting, how could it not be Christmas? Even if our outward relationship with it takes on different forms, I think we all have a tacit understanding of what the holiday represents. We understand Christmas as a time of togetherness and merriment, family and renewal. Simply being with others means more than any of the actual rituals. Shazam, at its core, is a movie about the exact same thing Christmas is about.
Wait. Thank you for this food. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this family. I thought maybe this time I'd stay.
In this case, it works more than just as a compliment. It outright elevates the movie. Without the subconscious association of Christmas, this movie simply couldn't work as effectively. Throughout this whole adventure, we've looked at various case studies of why a movie could be set at Christmas. And while each of them uses the holiday for its own unique purpose, there's actually a common thread that unifies them, one that's honestly not very surprising when you break it down. Whether it's to evoke the contemplative vibes of Shane Black's work, or to strike an uncomfortable juxtaposition as in Eyes Wide Shut, the setting is ultimately leveraging the exact same thing. Christmas is a touchstone. which is to say that these movies use not the mere holiday, but everything that the season seems to represent. Within the collective consciousness, the holiday of Christmas has supplanted any quaint definition and is enshrined as this megalithic cultural symbol. It means so many things all at once, be it togetherness and family, or even a dispassionate ministry of goodwill, as Gilliam put it. Looking back at 3 Days of the Condor, the setting functions the same way. The backdrop seems to employ several of these meanings all at once. For one, the reluctant and harrowing roller coaster that Joe is on is made to seem all the more unfair when the world is settling down for Christmas. On the other hand, the images of Salvation Army bell ringers act as a subtle foil to the sinister conspiracy. Appropriately, Shane Black himself even attributes 3 Days of the Condor as being a large influence on his personal use of the holiday. The first time I noticed it was 3 Days of the Condor, the Sidney Pollack film, where Christmas in the background adds this really odd, chilling counterpoint to the espionage plot. Regardless of the specific use, in the broadest of strokes, Christmas as a cultural symbol is used in films as a shorthand to invoke any and all associations with the holiday. I think this is why these movies will resonate with people especially well, and they will attempt to qualify them as legitimate holiday pictures. Unlike any other setting, Christmas means, well, Christmas. That's a bit of a cop-out answer, I know, but the holidays have so many different facets that gel with us in one way or another. We have a plethora of expectations assigned to the season, and it's only once these expectations are queued up in our minds that a film begins to take its liberties with tone, subversion, juxtaposition, or synergy. Or you could be like On Her Majesty's Secret Service and make it a Christmas movie to tie in with its December release. So, go ahead and pour some hot cocoa, cozy up on the couch, and let the film guide you on a strange but undeniably Christmas-flavored adventure. Thank you.